Well, hello, VCC family, and Merry Christmas Eve to all of you that are listening in and joining in. We hope you're having a great holiday season. Merry Christmas to you all tomorrow. I hope you're going to be spending a great time with all of your family. We wanted to take some time today. Hopefully at some point in time in your day today, you're able to take some time and join in with us and listen to this. And we're just taking some time to talk through and share some Christmas thoughts with you today. And Christmas at VCC is really about family. Yeah. And we enjoy being able to do things as a church family. We have had an incredible Christmas season. And now Christmas is here, and kids are loving this time of year. Guys,
not just kids.
Yeah, not just
adults are too.
And these guys, as well, are having a great Christmas season. But tell me, first of all, just guys, Caleb, why don't you start? What's a good Christmas memory that you have from your childhood?
My dad, so I had a lot of awesome gifts as a kid. I was very blessed. But my dad bought these cheap little, they're like Nerf guns, okay, but they don't shoot off the bullets. It's these discs.
Oh, I remember
and
those.
so you stack them in the top of the deal, you know, and then they fire out. And me and my dad, I'm not exaggerating. We opened our presents that morning, and then the rest of the day, that's all we did. To the point where I think by the end of the day, we lost all of the disc, and I don't know what happened to them. So I got one day of use out of them, but it was a good day. Yeah. And I will always remember that. It was so much fun.
That's awesome.
Isn't it kind of fun, like now that you have Carter, knowing how much your dad actually enjoyed that with you?
It's the weirdest. in those of you guys that have kids, you understand this, but seeing your kids being able to open gifts on Christmas morning is the greatest thing in the world. I don't care if I get a single thing, but as long as my kid, you know, the excitement that's on their face, that's all I need for Christmas. It's the best.
Yeah, that's cool. Cool story. What about you, Victor?
Hold on, I wrote a speech.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I think there's a lot of great memories. I think, but just one of my favorites is family of four. My sister was the oldest, and three brothers. And in our house, we have a peek through at the top where it's a, opening with a railing where you can see down to the living room. And so my sister would wake us up every year at like 3 a.m. like, guys, the presents are out. Santa came. And so we would sneak out. And, back then you thought you were sneaky. And then you
100%.
realize now that you're an adult, you weren't sneaky at all. And your parents could totally hear you. And then also I feel terrible because they probably just fell asleep. And we're like, so we all go downstairs with these little flashlights we had and rummage through everything. And Adam would try to feel all the presents and guess what they were. He was exceptionally good at it. But yeah, it was a good time.
That's awesome. So my parents were the only ones that had the rule of, I don't get out of bed until they come and wake me up, or we were not early risers at the Spangler household growing up. It was very much when I tell you to get up, you can get up, which now knowing why.
Crazy enough, we told Everly that Santa locks your door on Christmas Eve. No, I'm just kidding. And then Rudolph opens it. No.
Christmas traditions, Christmas memories, and all the things that we do, it's interesting how we remember a lot of the things, that happen around that Christmas time. Those things, it's like they're seared in our memory almost. But and I think it's just because of the joy and the love of being with family and the things that we do around Christmas time that are so special.
Right.
That we remember those things. We could probably sit here for hours talking about all the memories, all the things that we've done. But let me transition a little bit here to just church and Christmas. You've been with us now, Caleb, for 4 years. Yeah. What is special to you, and what stands out to you when Christmas comes around in VCC?
Yeah, I think what's so exciting to me is I've grown up in church my whole life, been a part of awesome churches, really every step of the way. Love the church that I grew up in. Interned for you at an awesome church. Was on staff at another amazing church, and always did something cool about Christmas. But I love Christmas in the Valley every year because it really brings out our slogan, our saying, who we are, that community is our middle name. And we get to do these cool, exciting things that a lot of churches don't take the time to do. And not that it's bad that they don't, but I love that we do, because families love that. And it's a great way to pull in other people in from the community and invite, different friends, family, whatever it may be. And we get to come in and do all these crazy things. We have one of the best Grinches, aside from Jim Carrey,
Maybe better.
maybe better on the planet. And it's so fun that he gets to come in and he gets to do his thing. And Santa was incredible this year, was he not?
Yes.
He did a fantastic job. I mean, came in quick, had to get back to work.
Yeah.
Obviously,
All right.
He has some stuff to do tonight,
course.
obviously, so.
Obviously, working hard. He's a busy schedule, so glad you fit us in, Santa. But it was just, I love this time of the year as just because we get to let people know, hey, we really mean when we say community is our middle name, and we're gonna do things to go out and reach our community in a different way that nobody else is doing.
True.
Yeah.
True. Victor, this is
My
your
14th
first.
Feels like 14.
Feels like it for sure. Last year you were around and you were here. Actually, came and led worship for us on our Christmas service last year.
Yeah.
But this will be your first. This is your first time
Yeah.
being on staff with us and going through the Christmas season with us.
It's my first time jingling all the way.
Jingling all the way.
You would.
Yeah.
Completely. What has it been like for you, and what stands out to you?
It's been awesome. I mean, I think first off, just one thing that stands out to me about our church in general, there's a verse that comes to mind, which is, if you have love for one another, that's how they will know you are my disciples. And I think the people in our church really emulate that. Everybody shows not only love towards one another, but towards anyone new in the house when we do community events. And that really stands out to me. And I think when it just comes to Christmas itself, I think one of the reasons I love Christmas so much is it feels like the world kind of pauses for a moment,
Yeah.
and we remember why we love each other, why we come to church, why we celebrate what we celebrate. And it's kind of like the world stops for a brief second, and we get to spend time with people, the ones that matter, and all of that. So I love it. Yeah,
It's great.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can't even begin to think about just how special it is when you get to be around the church family. I grew up in church and have been around church people and stuff all my life. But there's just something special about the family feel that is VCC. And it's nothing that I did, it's nothing that we did. There's something really special that God has orchestrated with our church family. And it feels like just extended family.
Yeah.
It just feels like that as we continue to grow even, that it's just more people coming in and being a part of the family. And I love that. I love just how close we're able to become with one another, and how that just enables us to continue to grow as a church family and invite more and more people to be a part of what God's doing. And that's a cool thing. And I think Christmas really highlights and heightens just that family feel that is VCC.
It really does.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
I wanna talk about here real quick, and I'll kind of set the stage for the next couple questions for you guys. Over the last couple years, we've kind of gone through some challenging times, right? As a society, as a nation, really the world at large, we've experienced some things that it has been challenging like nothing I've ever seen before, right? This is new to all of us. And so I think the effects, the things that we're having to walk through are difficult, and it takes really leaning on family, right? And being able to draw from family when you're going through some really dark times. And when I think about Christmas, we celebrate Christmas in the darkest time of the year, right?
Right.
It's the shortest part of the season, right? It's the winter solstice. So December 21st is the shortest time of the year. There's more darkness than there is light during this time of year. But what's interesting about that is that the light came in the midst of the darkness. In the darkest time, the light came, and Jesus was born into this world, and we celebrate his birth at the darkest time, at least for our part of the world, right? And that's interesting because I think with all that we're going through, it can feel very dark.
Yeah, it can.
And I think over the course of the last couple years, there's been a lot that we've gone through as a nation, as a people.
Yeah.
And I think never has it been more important for us to recognize, to celebrate, and as the people of God to talk about the light that comes in this time and who Jesus is. He really is the light of the world. And we get to celebrate that, right?
Yeah.
And Christmas Eve, is a fun time because of the expectation of what is tomorrow, right? I don't know if you guys did this. We didn't really do this. At least I can't really remember us making a tradition of it. Some people open a Christmas gift on Christmas Eve, right?
Yeah, we
One
did.
or whatever.
We only got to once,
One time.
and I ruined it. So we never did
So
it
didn't do it again, right?
Sounds about right.
That doesn't surprise me too much, Victor, but some people do, they have Christmas Eve traditions.
Yeah.
We kind of walked into a Christmas Eve tradition because we birthed our
Chuck E. Cheese,
youngest
baby. Chuck E. Cheese.
child on Christmas Eve. And so it's become a tradition that we go to the Chuck E. Cheese on Christmas Eve. So that's kind of our tradition, not all. But there's that expectation for Christmas tomorrow. Can't wait. Kids have a hard time sleeping, the whole thing.
Are you trying to get me excited? Come on, man.
I am. I'm building it up here. I'm building it up. At least I'm trying. But I think that ought to be what the church shares with the world, is the expectation of, man, there is a light when we're stumbling around in the darkness. And I feel like that is the world today. Stumbling around in the darkness, trying to find their way. What's the right way to do this, and how do we do that? And how do we navigate things and all the things that we've walked through, that Jesus is that light. And so what would you tell young people, teenagers, kids today, Caleb, when it comes to, man, there is hope. And we do have an excitement that's even greater than Christmas Day, and it's found in Jesus.
Yeah, and we talk about this a lot as a church, and especially as a staff, that our Super Bowls really for the year are Christmas and Easter. Yeah. But I love Christmas. I mean, we celebrate Easter big around here, but I love Christmas because that was the moment that hope for the very first time was born into society. Yeah. That was the very first time that in humanity there was real hope. And that's one of the things that I love about serving Jesus is, yes, when I serve Jesus, I accept him to be my Lord and Savior, my spot is written in heaven. That my name's written in the Lamb Book of Life, and I'm there. But what I love about serving Jesus is that it gives me hope for tomorrow. So on your worst days, God's still good. On your best days, God's still good. And that gives me hope that I can push through whatever I'm walking through, because I know that if God is for me, then who can be against me? Yeah. And we can go into, and no weapon formed against me shall prosper. And even though they're going to be formed, the enemy's going to try to attack. they won't do anything because God's got my back.
Yeah.
And so, and through Jesus, we're able to experience that. And so I love Christmas because of that. And I hope that for those that are out there right now, maybe you're watching this, that you're struggling through this season, you feel like there's no hope. I promise you there is. I promise you that there is a light in the darkness, and just hang on and get around a body of believers that can encourage you. You know, Christmas around here is great, but that's because we get to celebrate it with all of our friends and family at VCC.
Yeah.
And that's part of what makes it so amazing.
Yeah.
And celebrating it those with people who believe, and and we can encourage each other in. And so that's the thing, is hold on to that hope and find a group of people that can encourage you in your faith.
Yeah, Victor, there are a lot of people, and I've heard this. I've heard people say, "Man, there was a song, a Christmas song, or something happened, and it just really it challenged me, and it brought me back to the faith I had as a child, or whatever."
Yeah.
What if there are people maybe listening that maybe they're struggling, or maybe they find themselves in kind of a dark time right now in their life? What advice would you give?
I mean, just to even talk to what you've just been speaking to, Satan's the author of division, and he likes to magnify everything about us that's different. And, as you were just saying, we live in a world where even our own country is split right down the middle, 50-50, and we're in disagreement about so much. And you even spoke to family, and even within family, there's division over politics, over beliefs, and all these things. And I think the hope that Christ brings, and specifically in Christmas time too, what I love about it is it turns our eyes back to Jesus. Those songs turn our eyes back to Jesus. And when we realize, in spite of our differences, and we should celebrate our differences, and that's okay, but in spite of our differences, I grew up here, I grew up here, I live here, I live here, I root for this team, I root for this team, all these things. It's like, I'm not like you, you're not like me. Well, when it comes to Jesus, we are all one and the same. We're family, we're brothers and sisters in Christ, and we belong to one Father. And then there's that unity that comes in. There's that peace that comes in because we realize we're not separated, we're not divided, we're one.
Yeah, so true. I mean, the world, and you mentioned it, even all the way down to families, and even couples. There's so much that it feels like society tries to highlight our differences and how different we are, but really that should be celebrated, right? Because God loves variety, and He loves the differences in each of us, and we don't all have to, be cookie cutters of each other. It's not the way that it's meant to be. We really can celebrate, even in the midst of all the challenges that we face. That man, there's so much good that we can, especially during this time of year. And I think people generally try to, around the holiday season, around Christmas time, they try to find, the good in things. But without Jesus, it can only last for so long. Our best efforts just fall short. Right? And as we go through this Christmas season, leaving Jesus out of it, I just don't know how people are able to do that. You know what I mean? And that's one of the reasons I love just our church family, and being able to, is being able to just talk about just all the good things that God has done for us, and the things that God has done in our church family. Caleb, speak just a little bit to, because of your time here, you've been here for 4 years now, just some of the things you've seen God do in our church over the 4 years, and just how Christmas really expands on some of those things.
I mean, over the past 4 years, coming in when VCC was 2, number one, I look around and I see all the faces that are here now that weren't here then. those are miracles. Those are miracles that are walking, talking miracles, and we get to celebrate that.
Yeah.
I think of the families that have had, financial struggles that are, now they're in a much better situation through hard work and prayer and asking God, hey, where do we go? How do we get there? And I just, again, I come back to, we get to celebrate all of those things around Christmas time because we're celebrating the hope that is Jesus.
Yeah.
And we get to celebrate the hope that we have that, okay, my situation doesn't look great right now. We can talk about healings that have taken place in people's bodies. I mean, we've talked about from broken backs to heart conditions that we've been able to see over these past 4 years. It's been remarkable. And this is the time of the year that we get to celebrate that and say, hey, Jesus, thanks for coming the way that you did.
Yeah.
You didn't have to come the way that you did. I mean,
Yeah.
in the mess and the chaos and, trying to figure out where in the world you're even going to be born for the night, and you came to a young girl who was terrified and petrified, but yet you still came the way that you did. And it just shows that even in the mess, there's good that can come from it.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so celebrating that with our VCC family, especially over these past 4 years, has been incredible. And the new people who have recently joined our VCC family, it's been so special, and the beautiful thing about, Victor mentioned this about the love that our people have, is when there are new people that come in and it's like, hey, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
You're with us now.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
you're,
right.
you're just a part of it. Come on.
Yeah.
We got you.
Yeah.
And
Sorry if we
I
hug
love
you
that.
too much.
Yeah. Right. Speaking to that, welcoming new people, and Victor, I think I heard you talk about just, the welcoming, and how much it felt like you're just walking right in and able to jump in and be a part and feel a part very quickly. What was as someone who's relatively new yourself? What was that like for you, and what would you say to others that are maybe looking for, a church home or a place to be a part of?
Yeah, I mean, I think that for one, if you're looking for a church to call home, I think the greatest thing you can do is just see that the people, the staff, that they exemplify who Christ is, right? And one of the main things is God is love.
Right.
And so, but yeah, I mean, even just coming here, people were so welcoming to me and my wife, and granted, with my personality, I thrive in those situations because I'll make a friend with you even if you don't want to be a friend with me. But I will say it was easy. They made it easy, and some of the most loving people you'll ever meet. And I think that goes a long way in our witness for Christ. I think that goes a long way as our representation of Jesus, is that we are loving, because that's what separates us from the world, right? I was just reading this verse last night, actually, but if you only love those who love you, you're no different than anybody else, because it's easy to love those who love you back, but it's when we show that love towards those who don't care to be loving or are hateful or whatever, spiteful. When we love back, that's when they say, wait a minute, what's going on here? This is different. Something's different, and you can let them know it's Jesus that's different.
I'll just tell you, VC, that's the way it was with Victor and I. I didn't really want to be his friend too much, but he just made it impossible. And so...
threw myself on.
Yeah. Last question here. What is the challenge for us as the church to really be the light in the midst of the darkness as we continue to move forward? And I believe we're going to have many incredible Christmases for years to come as part of VCC. But what is the challenge for us as VCC, but also the church at large, just to be the light in the midst of the darkness moving forward? Because I don't think that the darkness is going to get any less dark. Right? We're still going to be facing the extreme darkness, regardless of what we call it, right? Regardless of the things that we're battling against, whatever it is, whatever the divide, whatever the challenges, the church is the hope of the world. And we need to show the love of Jesus, like we've been talking about, because that he's the light, right?
Yeah.
How do we continue to do that? And specifically in this time of year, what does that need to look like for us continuing to move forward? What would you say?
Yeah, I think, Victor hit it right on the head there with, we got to love people that don't love you back. We live in a world that is so wrapped up in our political beliefs, where you're either on this side or you're on that side. And if you're on that side and I'm on this side, then I don't want anything to do with you. And through this Christmas season, I just hope that it remembers, like, Christians out there, if you're a believer, your focus should be Jesus.
Yeah.
There are things that come out of that, like the way you walk, the way you talk, with, yes, some of your political views, that should line up with who Jesus was. But at the end of the day, my eyes, my life, it's pointed back at Jesus. And the second that we get that misconstrued and we start believing things or putting other things in front of that, that's where the church has gotten itself in trouble. And now, unfortunately, I think the church as a whole is having to play catch up. There's a lot of really great churches out there that are doing incredible things. Yeah. But unfortunately, for a very long time, the church was known for what we don't do, what we don't like, and we hate this and we hate that, and we don't go there and we don't do this. And so unfortunately now the church is having to play catch up to get back to the point to say, hey, you know what? We're just about Jesus. Right? Like, we just love Jesus. And yes, there's truth and there's love and there's grace and all of that. And there are things that Jesus says, hey, be cautious of this, do that. But I think we just need to remember and get focused back on the fact that Jesus loved me. He came as a baby in a manger, grew up, had an incredible life, and then died for my sins. And I'm messed up and I'm imperfect, and yet he still loves me. Yeah. So I need to turn around and do that exact same thing to those that don't want to love me back.
Yeah. That's not always easy to do.
Not at all.
That's a challenging thing, but it's true for all of us. I mean, we need to love people, and people can be hard to love from time to time, right? But that's who Jesus went to. You think about it. He cared for those that were broken and hurting, and really the people that society had shunned. So, Victor, kind of tagging on to that, what is the challenge for us as the church continuing to move forward, and how do we love those that, can be hard to love, but that Jesus has called us to?
Yeah, I think I'm going to approach this question just internally, and I'll just speak to myself. I think the hardest thing as you progress as a Christ follower is to not get puffed up in yourself.
That's good.
You saw what the Pharisees became because it turned from God to them, and look how holy I am, and look what I do, and all these things, and they missed it. They were so focused on the law that they were doing things and weren't even really following the law as it was meant to be followed, as Jesus showed them. But I think for me, it is constantly reminding myself that I'm nothing without Jesus. Any righteousness I have, any goodness within me, it's all Christ. And so two verses are what come to mind for me. One is Corinthians, when Paul says that if you have not love, then it's worthless. You're prophesying, you're speaking in tongues, you're laying hands and healing. All of it's worthless if you don't have love for one another. And then the other one is, fix the log in your eye and you'll be able to see clearly to fix the speck in your neighbor's. I think about that a lot, which is, I should really be trying to fix myself and love others, not fix others and love myself. So
that's good. That's really good.
Very true. Very true. And the church, like you guys have said, the church has some ground to gain in really being recognized in our culture and our societies as the people that love people regardless, right? And so as a church in our community, what we aim to do, what we long to do, is the love that people feel, the joy that people feel at Christmas time. We want to carry that all year long. We want it to be Christmas all year round, right? And be able to share the goodness of God with people, even when it's tough to do that. And so, man, I'm excited, and I think that the the years yet to come, that God's just going to continue to grow our family, and we're going to see God continue to do some incredible things.
Amen.
And I'm thankful that we're all on this journey together,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
get to see all that God's going to do, and the challenges that come our way, because no doubt there will be challenges. We're going to face those things together as a family, and the challenges that our church family may be facing.
Yeah.
We're going to face those challenges together, and we're going to see God do some incredible things. And the excitement that we have, around Christmas time is not just something that is meant to be experienced because of the gifts and all the things that we get, the memories, the traditions and things of Christmas, but it's really about who Jesus is, and we get to share that, we get to take that, we get to become that. That's who the church is. That's what the church is meant to be. And so that's the takeaway, and that's what we hope that you'll receive this Christmas Eve, is that you get to be a part of, we're a part of what God has called us to in reaching our community and making a difference and seeing people come to know Him. And so I hope you're having an incredible Christmas Eve. I hope you have a great Christmas day tomorrow. Don't forget to check out the message tomorrow. Jen and I have something special we want to share with you. We're looking forward to being able to share that with you. Be sure to tune in for that. But until then, God bless you. We love you. And these guys are incredible. They're goofballs, but they're incredible. And we're excited about all that God is going to do in the future. Any last sign-offs, guys?
Merry Christmas. Love you guys.
Merry Christmas. Love y'all.
Have a great one, guys. We'll see you soon.